Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with the Collective. I am so excited this morning to introduce to you another awesome practitioner here in Kelowna. This is Marie Martin. Hi, Marie. It's so
Hi.
great that you're here. Thanks for being here. Why don't we just get right into it, and I'll just have you introduce yourself to everybody and what it is that you do.
Sure. My name is Marie Martin, as you said. I'm a coach and counsellor in Kelowna. I kind of studied lots of different things. I've studied I go from one side to the other. I go like really scientific, like really grounded, like
Oh, I love that.
neuro-linguistic programming and conversational intelligence, which is the neuroscience of conversation. And I love to study that. And then I go like a bit way out and did a degree of metaphysics and
Oh,
quantum healing hypnosis and I
cool.
kind of veer between the two worlds, and I create a balance with that, right? I'm a
Yeah,
lifelong study. I study. I can't stop studying. So at the moment, I'm doing my traditional counselling diploma, which will make me a registered counsellor in Kelowna, in BC and
fantastic.
Alberta, because I work with people in Alberta too. So I
Awesome.
work predominantly over Zoom, and I downloaded this. I say downloaded. I downloaded this process around working with people's belief systems.
Okay.
Like I was kind of shown a way where the beliefs sit in our cellular memory, and when they sit in our cellular memory, they manifest in six of our bodies: in our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, our spiritual body, our internal representation, how we see ourselves, and our external representation, how we demonstrate this to the world. And then once it's in this pattern, it kind of creates the story around that belief and makes it true. And then we go, see, that's true. And then it happens again and again and again and again and again. So I actually work with people with this process. I wrote a book about it called Metatron's Code.
Oh, cool. I love
It's about
that.
the process. I kind of see it like a spider's web.
Yeah.
But I realized once I got the last bit of information and how it entangles in everything, and we dissolve the entanglement when we work on a belief as well, is first I thought it was like a spider's web, then I was like, no, it's not. It's like the Metatron's code, which is the sacred geometry creation of all things. So when we have a belief that sets in this particular format, it just creates. And the universe doesn't care whether it's helpful or unhelpful. It just creates over and over and over again, right?
That is incredible. I love that. What a really cool system that you're working with. That's really incredible.
Yeah, so I
Cool.
kind of combine that and then all of my other bits and pieces of certificates into a program. And I typically work with people for like 10, 11 weeks, but I prefer to do like longer, like 20 weeks, because
Great.
in the 10 weeks we can really find out what the triggers are and how to work with them, and then
Yeah,
into emotional mastery. But if we have more time, we can start diving into some of the individual
of
stories.
course. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's really
Yeah.
great. How cool. I love that. It's the work that I do, I work with kind of helping people recognize their patterning, whether it's their belief systems or their physical patterns, how they're choosing to move their body. And I'm just relating to what you're saying because it sounds, it's about understanding how people are currently functioning and then how can we offer maybe an alternative that's more helpful to them. So I
Yeah.
love that. That totally makes sense to me. I love that.
Absolutely. And with the counseling, like counseling is all about going back. So we kind of go back to the original route, but not the whole story. I don't believe in telling the same story over and over again. We just reinforce that pathway and make it more true.
Right.
So we're just going to get the root of the belief and shift it into a new belief. And then we move forward into the future so we can future set it into something that works for us.
Right. Totally.
We can make massive changes really simply. It doesn't need to be hard. It
Complicated.
doesn't need to be, like years ago when I first started working through my own patterns, I remember some of the first initial patterns that I'd worked through, and I'd be on the floor crying for like 2 hours. And literally the first time I downloaded the process, it used to take me 2 hours to walk somebody through a belief. We'd go
Right.
through it that thoroughly, go through each
Right.
bodies. But now it takes like 10, 15 minutes for one belief. And I think it's because like I'm speeding up my process, people are speeding up their process, and the world's speeding up too,
Of
right? So
course.
we can shift these things super
Shift these
quickly.
things so quickly. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. That is so cool. Marie, tell me a little bit about your story and how you got here. I think, we always have this joke, as practitioners that, we all kind of went through our stuff to kind of
Oh
get
yeah.
here to this place, right, where we then want to help others because, we know that it's possible to get through to the other side. So I'm always really curious as to how, people get where they get. So what's your story?
You know, my story, I've got a few stories. How can I dissolve it? I'll compact into one. Like, I actually started getting sick. I had my kids and I started to get sick, and I started to, I couldn't figure out what it was. And we were living in Australia. My kids were born in Australia, and I was going to see the doctors there, and they were saying, you've got depression, like, because I was suffering fatigue. And I was like, I don't have depression. And they said, well, just try antidepressants to see how it goes. And I said, no, I absolutely flatly refuse to go down the antidepressant route. So eventually somebody said, go and see a psychiatrist. And I was like, okay, I'll see a psychiatrist. And I went to 2 sessions, and she threw me out and said, you know, Marie, you've got more positive tools than I have. You're not depressed. And I'm like, I know. So we moved to Canada, and we were living on Big White on the mountain. And I started to get worse, and a doctor up there said, oh, it's probably altitude sickness, because obviously we're living at altitude up there. But this fatigue started to get worse. So I started looking into depression and what diagnosis was around depression, and hypothyroidism came up, thyroid problems. It just kind of flagged. So I contacted my mom and said, what's the story of hypothyroid or thyroid problems in the family? And she was like, well, this cousin, that cousin, your grandma, and a whole heap of like people in my history. So I went to a doctor and said, okay, do the test and then do the double test, do the deeper test. And I found out I had hypothyroidism from adrenal fatigue, from lifelong hypertension. I had trauma and abuse as a child, so it was coming up in my physical body.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like I didn't go down the pharmaceutical route. I went down another route, and basically one morning I woke up and was like, I'm not going to survive this. Like I couldn't get my head off the sofa after 5 o'clock at night, and every morning I was dragging myself out of bed, and I was literally like just surviving. And one morning I just went, I can't do this. I'm not going to survive this. And in that moment I made a choice. And I think we come to this place, I think we all come to this place where it gets so heavy, so hard, that if we don't shift, we're just going to continue deteriorating.
Of course.
And I kind of knew I was at this crossroads where I went, if I don't do something drastic here, I'm not going to make it. So in that moment, I made a choice to live. And it's the best decision. I didn't actually realize it was a choice. I didn't realize it was a decision that we kind of had to make. But as soon as I made that choice to live, things started opening up. I started studying the mental programming with the neuro-linguistic programming, like what my thoughts were creating and how, and I hadn't realized how many toxic thoughts I had. It was just like I had a million toxic thoughts. So from our programming from 0 to 7, and I had to start shifting those thoughts. And I literally at that point, that's how I started writing the book. I literally went through the process, body by body by body. I was shown the mental body, shift your thoughts, and I was shown how it sits in our physical body, shift how it sits in your physical body. Then the emotional body, which was pretty tough for me to handle. Coming from a coal mining town, we didn't display our emotions very much. So eventually I started to get better and better and better. And the doctor said to me at the time when I first got diagnosed, he said, you know, this is a lifelong illness. You're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. And I said, no, I don't believe that. And he said, well, believe this, you will. And I said, no, I choose not to believe that. So I haven't had any medication for over 5 years, and I get my thyroid levels checked, and my adrenals are good and my thyroid are good. So if I can do it, we can all do it.
Oh, good for you. I love that. What a great story. I think you're right. I talk about that a lot, you know, that everything in life really is a choice. We like to think that we're, you know, stuck in a lot of things in life and things happen to us, but you're right. I really believe that everything is a choice. And it's your story is very inspiring to me because it's brave. It's brave to be at your worst and choose to live and to make a shift. It's very, very brave. So good for you. And then to learn what you're learning and share that with others and help others. That's incredible. And wow, what a story. Thanks so much for sharing that. That's a beautiful story. Tell me a little bit about, you know, we here at the collective, we're bringing practitioners together because we believe in the power of connection. We believe in the power of community and collaboration. And I'm curious, when you think of collaboration, what does that look like to you, or what does that mean to you?
For me, collaboration means it's always a win-win-win. It's a win for me, it's a win for you, and it's a win for the community. And if it's like, I kind of like to live my life on that principle, that if it's not a win for me and it's not a win for you and it's not a win for the community, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so collaboration just means that in studying neuroscience and the words, like the word came up, co-creation there. And I love the word co-creation because it puts us in the prefrontal cortex. When we're in the prefrontal cortex and we have this high trust connection with people, it creates completely different results. Like we can create magic. You know, when people say to me, I worry about the state of the world, and I say, I'm not worried at all, because the more of us that start to evolve and the more of us that are living from our prefrontal cortex, we can shift problems super quickly. And when there's enough of us in this state, we will shift the world in an instant.
And that's, again, it's a choice. It's a choice to be there and to recognize that, you know, we are the light in the world, and that everything is going to be okay. And that really we just, need to be trusting, willing, and come together and build together and grow together. I love that. It's, you know, what we're trying to do, one of the main foundations of the collective is to be safe, inclusive, and collaborative. And that's what I think of when you said those words about, you know, co-creation and the importance of that, and making sure that everyone's winning all the time. And that's really where we're coming from, is that this is always a place for everybody. It's an environment that is supportive. It's an environment that's inclusive. And it's something that we're constantly wanting to learn about and make sure that we're holding that space all the time. And so we're always asking members like yourself, how do you describe or define an inclusive environment? How do you know that you're in that place where you can co-create from a place of safety and trust?
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah. I love that.
I just got goosebumps everywhere. You can feel that connection. You can feel that safety. You can feel that love. You can feel the compassion. You can feel the trust. You can feel the harmony. And I have that same principle with the people that I work with. Like, if I can't feel it, I won't work with them.
Totally. I agree.
I'm not the right person for people if I can't feel it, right?
Yeah, you're so right about that. And I think it is just that simple as, you know, you hopefully, you know, we hope that we're creating a space that everyone can just feel that and feel that safety and that ability to, you know, stand up and be vulnerable and, you know, share what they need, or share what their struggles are, or share what they want to celebrate, and know that they have
to be authentic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the only way to be. And yet it can be really challenging, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. When I first started using my voice and speaking my truth, it was like, oh my gosh, am I going to get away with this? And now I can't not.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's very, you know, it's you're right about that. I think it's, it can be really challenging. And then when you get a taste of it, it's like, oh, actually, it's way easier just to be the real me, you know, and just to be authentic, right? Take all the masks off. So yeah, I totally agree with that. So glad that you're here. So glad that we're interviewing you and sharing you with everybody else, because you just are so incredible. And I wish we had way more time. But just before we wrap it up, why do you want to be here? What do you hope to gain from being part of a community like this?
And the collaboration process, like the reach, the word that's coming up is the vulnerability, like being in that place,
being able to be you. Awesome. Oh, that's so great. Well, I really hope we get to see more of you and, you know, share more of your wisdom, because I can already tell you have so much of it. That's kind of all we have time for this morning. So thank you so much for introducing yourself and coming and saying hello and sharing a little bit of your story. Thank you to everybody else who is out there watching, whether, well, I guess all of you will be watching it on the replay. So thanks so much. Welcome again to Marie. Thanks everybody for watching Coffee with the Collective. It's been a while. Thanks so much for showing up. And have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.